It's Japan's worst natural disaster in a century. The country awoke to raging fires and parts of some cities underwater after yesterday's massive earthquake and tsunami. It'll be some time before the full extent of the death and damage is known. Here's a look at the situation as it stands. With a magnitude of 8.9, this ranks as Japan's most powerful earthquake. It's the 7th most powerful on record. The quake triggered a 10-metre high tsunami that surged into cities and villages, sweeping away everything in its path. More than 600 people have been killed, but the death toll is expected to be well above 1,000. There are concerns for 54 Australians in quake-hit areas, but there are no reports of Australian casualties. The Japanese government says a meltdown is possible at one of its nuclear plants. Thousands of nearby residents have evacuated their homes. North Asia correspondent Mark Willesee is in Tokyo.
Here in the capital, the damage may not be as immediately apparent as up north, but it's still put a huge strain on the city. Japan has long been overdue for an earthquake of this size, but knowing the big one was coming hasn't lessened the shock. The tsunami waves that followed moved so quickly at a speed of 800 kilometres an hour that they proved to be an unstoppable and devastating force.
The tsunami has already engulfed some cities, fires breaking out due to the earthquake.
Japan is being shaken, smashed and scorched. The dawn light revealing the obliteration wrought by the country's worst earthquake. In Miyagi Prefecture, north of Tokyo, whole villages and towns have been shattered and swept away. Just north of the quake's epicentre, landslides ripped railway lines from their tracks. To the south, trains were tossed off course and upended. Hundreds of people are dead and missing. This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets a seaside community. Near Sendai in northern Japan, the tsunami surged 10 kilometres inland. Houses were either torn from their foundations or torn apart. Boats were picked up and thrust along roads. Cars were tossed about like bath toys. Those who tried to outrun this 3-storey leviathan were consumed. This was the moment the sea floor ruptured. This school was in the middle of a graduation ceremony. In millions of homes around central and northern Japan, people took shelter where they could. The violent seizure lasted 2 long minutes and was 8,000 times more powerful than the earthquake in Christchurch. But there's yet another sting in the tail. Japan has declared a nuclear emergency situation, with cooling systems failing on at least 2 of its nuclear power plants, sending temperatures inside the reactor soaring. Thousands of people living near one plant were ordered to evacuate.
We have ordered a 10-kilometre exclusion zone around the facility. I'm going there with experts from the industry to talk with people responsible on the ground.
Those people have already ordered that radioactive vapour at 5 nuclear facilities be released to ease building pressure. The fear is nuclear meltdown.